Are you a thoughtful leader? Maybe you are. Maybe you think you are. Let's find out. I'm Mindy Gibbins-Klein. I'm author of The Thoughtful Leader and host of the Thoughtful Leader podcast. Thoughtful leadership is all about thought leadership that goes above and beyond. Thought leadership that is truly new and original, exciting, disruptive, maybe even groundbreaking. Because let's face it, we need to raise the bar. My guests and I are absolutely obsessed with finding truly original thought leadership, and I'm going to bring you so many exciting ideas and opportunities, things for you to think about, and chances for you to push your thinking that you'll be very glad you tuned in. So thanks so much for checking out Thoughtful Leadership and the Thoughtful Leader podcast. I look forward to connecting with you very, very soon. So the head or the heart. As a thoughtful leader, you probably know that you can use your head, or you can use your heart, or you can use both to be thoughtful. And as I've been talking about in my books and in this podcast and everywhere I go, really, I just talk about the fact that we have the word thoughtful, which has the two meanings. So before I launch into the head and the heart, let's just make sure we're all on the same page. Your head, if you're going to be thoughtful about something and put thought into something, you understand that is one type of thoughtful. And then just remember the other. There's a heart here for you to look at. Oh, that's so thoughtful, so considerate. And that is the other meaning. So they're both valid. They're both definitions of the word thoughtful. How about you? Which one do you lead with? Do you lead with your head? Do you lead with your heart? I know, it depends. So I just have a couple of thoughts to share with you today, because I do get asked this question a lot. Everywhere I go, people want to know. I love making my rhymes. Now, everywhere I go, I end up explaining to people that it does depend. And there's a way that you can look at thoughtful leadership every single day. You can look at your behavior. You can look at what you're saying and how, all your interactions. Once you get this, and once you choose the best way for you, it's magic. It really is. So do we lead with the head or the heart? Should we lead with the head or the heart? We know it depends, but actually, the heart comes first. The heart comes first, and here's why. If you're thoughtful in that sense of the word, and you care, and you're thinking about someone else, then you are much more likely to be willing to put the thought into whatever decision or action is required, right? So you have to care first. I'll give you a couple of examples. During the pandemic, and the pandemic, I know, was not the same for everybody, is not the same. We're still going through it. But during the pandemic, I had a few friends who run their own businesses, and I noticed a trend. If I asked them how they were doing, they'd come out with, yeah, things are good. But if I knew that actually there's something going on, things are not great, we don't have to say things are going well. So a little bit of conversation, because I cared enough, I actually spent the extra time. And there is a great book that we published that is currently up, it's in the short list for the Business Book Awards, and it's called Just Ask. And it's about going the extra step, the extra mile, as it were, and asking for help, but also, if you're the listener, if you're the person who cares, asking. So that was me in these instances. I must admit, I've worked hard during the pandemic. I have a lot of resources, a lot of experience, a lot of personal development training, and I wouldn't say I suffered as much as many other people. So I felt strong, and I felt like I was in a position to help others Yes, of course. I worked hard and I was busy. We're all busy. But when these friends, in 2 occasions I can remember, and I know there were more, but on these 2 occasions, when they said, yeah, things are good, but I could tell, I just dropped everything and said, hey, let's chat about this. What's really going on? And then they began to open up. It was the same in each case. I'm not naming names for obvious reasons. Once we got into the conversation, it turned out that, of course there were things going on. There's always things going on. And because it was a safe space, a confidential space, which it still is, I haven't given you any clues as to who they are. They opened up and shared what the issues were. And in each case, I was able to help. What I needed to do was go into my heart, be the thoughtful leader who cared. That was my only job, caring and listening. No solutions, although I knew I had some. And then I thought, well, I know I am capable of helping this person. In one case, they needed to spend time sifting through some very sticky problems in the business. A lot of business owners have had challenges, have had, huge decisions to make during the pandemic, especially. And in this case, it was complex and my friend was stressing out. So of course you can't think clearly when you're stressed, as you know. And then what I would say is about half an hour into the conversation, I said to them, do you want some help? Because I may have a few ideas. Because I was being a thoughtful leader, I didn't say, I can help you. So a couple of nuances there. I said, do you want me to take a look at this? Should we spend some time talking about it? I may have some ideas for you. And that was the right approach. I then spent, 3 or 4 hours over a period of time, helping them figure out very specific things to do with their business. Now, this was a friend, not a client. Of course, I get paid for consultancy, and that's not what we're talking about. I just saw, and I wanted to be thoughtful enough, and then I needed to put the head to work and be thoughtful in that sense. Let's really think through some of these things that are going on. Let's see if we can be more creative. And when I say we, I was just chatting. I'm not involved in their business in any way. And it was so rewarding for me to be able to put thought into something for someone else, help them. They made some really important decisions. They are now on the upside of it. And I just felt so great. We feel great when we can help. So to be thoughtful enough to go into your heart and say, do I care enough to help this person? Then you engage the head. Make sense? In the other situation with my other friend, it was a bit simpler, but it was the same kind of thing. I just had a feeling that they were not doing as well as they were implying. And I said, do you want to chat about it? It turned out in that case that it really needed something quite simple in the form of a spreadsheet. I'm not a spreadsheet expert, but my brain kind of thinks in that way. And I'm used to working with them, and they were not. So in that case, just setting something up with them was such a help. Just please don't ask me to do spreadsheets because I may not be able to help you in the same way. But I'm just illustrating the point that first, I cared enough to put time and effort into it. They said yes. I cared enough, and I was careful about, how I offered. And then I was able to do my work and feel rewarded for that. Again, no financial, there was no money transferred. It was just helping a friend. I think there are many, many other instances in my life and yours. I really just wanted to explain the process of how it worked, of starting with the heart and then engaging the head. So the obvious question is, why don't we do this all the time? Why don't more people do this? Some people don't do it at all. And I'm talking to you because you're the thoughtful leader. So why don't we do it? Well, there are several reasons. There's the pressure to get things done and to use your head, the left brain, the logical part of your brain. That is something that we're conditioned to do. And I would say that in society, we put extra value on that. We actually give that more weight than the heart. We talk about the heart, but when push comes to shove and it's a stressful or challenging situation, most people go to the head first. And okay, how can I solve this? A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. What are the options? Whereas if you just take a moment or a few moments and you go into that heart space, which we're all capable of doing, then you can get your intention, you can set your intention, and you can then be in the right space to use your head. And actually, you can use both at all times. So be aware of your own tendency to go straight to the head and figuring things out and solving things, because you're going to do that. You're going to solve things. Sorry, that's my notes making noise. I just wanted to share that with you today because we find in these pressure cooker situations, people don't always remind us to go into the heart. So you are capable of doing that as well. And being aware is the first step, and then setting your intention. So the other thing that I wanted to chat with you about is how you make decisions generally. We tend to separate the head and the heart. And so this also doesn't help, because if you haven't got a lot of experience doing this, it feels very strange, maybe unnatural. But that's okay, because if you care enough, you will work through the unnatural stage and you will arrive at a way that works. So you're trying something new. They call it conscious incompetent. I love the 4 stages. But when you're consciously incompetent and you realize, oh gosh, this is very uncomfortable, very strange, very unfamiliar, that's when you can pay attention, and it just comes back to, again, do you care enough to get through that stage? So in the area of thoughtful leadership, because we're so used to separating the heart and the head, instinctively it's an either or situation. Either I'm caring and thinking about people, or I am logical and rational and using my left brain and all that stuff. But it doesn't need to be that way, right? Being conscious about it, being intentional about the way you make these decisions, the way you approach every challenge, that is thoughtful leadership. That's what I've been practicing. And I still catch myself at times, very uncomfortable, very, in unfamiliar territory. And then the decision comes, do I push through it or do I give up? And when it's a friend, I know what your answer is going to be. You're not going to give up on a friend. Final point. What about yourself? We've been talking about helping friends and maybe business challenges. What about you? Are you a thoughtful leader with yourself? Something to think about. If you're a caring person, you probably do care about yourself. There's the spectrum of caring for others so much that you neglect yourself. We're not getting into that in this episode. However, just think, do you start with the heart? There's another rhyme for you. Start with the heart. Give yourself that space to remember that you care, even if, or especially if, we're talking about caring for ourselves. That means, in some cases, saying, unless it's a really big emergency, can I get back to you on that tomorrow? May I think about this? And of course, we say, may I think about it, But what we really mean is, may I go into my heart and then think about it? I hope this makes sense. These insights are still coming to me. I'm still learning. I'm still looking at life and my decisions and what's going on and aiming to be better every day. And I know you are too. So thank you very, very much for being part of my life, for listening to this, for being a thoughtful leader with all the bumps in the road that entails, and exploring the head and the heart today. And I really wish you the best of luck. I wish you a fun journey, and we just keep getting better all the time. Thank you so, so much for your interest in thoughtful leadership and for trying to be the best thoughtful leader you can be. I'll speak to you again soon. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of The Thoughtful Leader, and I hope it's inspired you to be more thoughtful as a leader in your business. Please consider subscribing and leaving a review. An important question for you. Do you want to create a culture of thought leadership in your organization? My best-selling book, The Thoughtful Leader, is available now on Amazon and many other sites in paperback, ebook, and audiobook formats. Please visit www.mindygk.com for more great content. That's www.mindygk.com. Speak to you again soon.